Yes, and there we are, we're live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Stroll Jones here with this week's edition of Talking Songs. Hope you're doing all right out there. We've had torrential rain here all day. I feel it's a bluesy day, I'm afraid. It's a bit like, what's the song? Oh, there's lots of them. I Can't Stand the Rain will do, I suppose. I'm sure Tom will be able to tell us dozens of rain songs. But anyway, before we hand over to Tom, I'm going to do your little tune. This is called Where's the Why? Tired of waking up on my own. I have a house, but I don't have a home. So lonely living life all by yourself. Don't like feeling left up on a shelf. Where's the why? Where is the you? Where's the why? Where is the you? It doesn't worry me all of the time. It just appears with no reason or rhyme. Sometimes I see somebody smile. I'd like to be there every once in a while. Where's the why? Where is the you? Where's the why? Where is the you? I'm getting older and I'm getting tired. Drunk too often, getting wide. I don't know how long this can last. Life's moving slower, but time's going fast. Where's the why? Where is the you? Where's the why? Where is the you? You might be tall and slender with long blonde hair. You might be real petite, I don't really care. As long as your mind works and your heart is true, I don't care if your eyes are green, brown or blue. Where's the why? Where is the you? Where is the you? Where is the you? That's Where's the Why. And so now I'm going to hand you over. Well, not hand you over. I'm going to introduce into the studio Mr. Tom Attah. Hi, Tom.
Hello. How are you all? Can you hear me okay?
Hey, that's fine. That's fine. Coming in loud from Leeds.
Cool.
How's life over there today? Is it chucking it down like it is here?
No, it's actually quite warm. It's a bit muggy, but then apparently the BSL, the British Sign Language for Manchester, is that.
Is that right?
So I'm told.
Well, it's funny because when I lived in Italy, people used to say, "Oh, Manchester's always rainy," and I checked out what the rainfall is in that year in comparison between Rome and Manchester, and it was the same total rainfall. The only difference is that it's like a tap. In Rome, it's open or shut. In Manchester, it's always just a little bit open. So it drizzles all the time. So the actual total amount we get here is the same as there, but we don't get the food. So on to current matters. Dr. Tom Attah. So what's the doctor for then? A PhD in what?
Popular music. So
popular music.
Yeah. So that's my PhD, and there's a certificate up there somewhere. But yeah, so Doctor of Philosophy in Popular Music Studies. One of the things that I think we all know about music is that people have always made it. It would seem, and even in this last 6 months in the UK, people have been willing to risk their liberty for the sake of going out and singing and playing music. So yeah, it's it might seem like an obvious, like it might seem like a weird thing to have a doctorate in, but
Not at
yeah,
all.
that's me.
There's much more weird things than that out there. At least it sounds interesting. So
Medieval cookery, yeah. My favourite one.
what got you into music first then?
I think with the same as with most people, it resonated. I mean, with no pun intended. It just the thing that resonated. I remember hearing "Isn't She Lovely," and the well, particularly the harmonica solo on "Isn't She Lovely," and thinking, well, I
Yeah,
don't know what that is, but it's good. But it is good.
yeah,
And at the same time,
fabulous.
interestingly, Eric Clapton. So I think I remember hearing Layla, and I think hearing Layla, and I think
Mm,
with a song like that, if you don't know any better, and I still would recommend Layla to anyone,
mm,
it's the sound of a man on fire.
mm,
And rather than if you come to it with your mind with no preconceptions, you feel it rather than you hear it.
mm.
And it's just yeah, wonderful. So between those two things and my parents' music taste, so everything between King Sunny Ade and Ippy Tomby um, to Wagner, Chopin, and Boney M, which was a particular favourite. Yeah, the joy, the joy of music was always there.
Brilliant. So did you were you playing in bands when you were younger and stuff? I mean, I know you're still doing the live gigs now when you can.
Well, as much as any, as much as any
Anyway, yeah.
fellow musician. But yeah, I don't know. Not really. I think when I was in my mid to late teens, then like everyone, you find a thing.
Mm.
And because well, okay, so fine. I'm black, and I come from a very white area. I come from Surrey in Northeast Hampshire.
Right.
Um, and so, but luckily for me, the bit of it that I come from was the bit that all the old musicians lived in. So people from the '60s
Mm.
who were doing things back in the day. So people who'd been session musicians, people who'd been in bands, and so on and so
Mm.
on. And luckily for me, and for the circle of, and for the guy I was very close friends with at the time, we just happened into this particular scene in this particular pub, which was lots of young musicians our age,
Mm.
and lots of senior musicians.
Right.
Some
Where
of
was
whom,
that exactly?
so that's Surrey and North East Hampshire, which is, and the bit
Mm.
of it that I'm from, it's called the Rockbroker Belt.
Mm.
Because Mr.
Eric,
Clapton has a
you
house
made
down
Eric.
there. Yeah, one mate in my dreams. But yeah, so a lot of very famous musicians have houses out that
Mm.
way. And like I say, I think maybe because it's so
Chris
close to
Rea's down
London.
there somewhere, isn't he? I think.
Yeah, Chris Rea was there. Oh, I don't know about Chris Rea. I thought Chris Rea was a Geordie. I don't know. I never
Oh
heard
yeah,
of
but
him.
that's because he wrote the Road to Hell about the M25, didn't
Ah, I see. Yeah.
he?
But people who live down there would be
Yeah.
Eric Clapton and Ringo Starr lived down there, and Zach
Right. Okay.
Starkey showed up a couple of times and stuff like that.
So you got it
But
by osmosis then.
pretty much, I mean, because this is the thing. I mean, and we'd go to this little, and I didn't realise it at the time, but this little pub that we'd go to was effectively a working men's club in the middle of Surrey. So the guy who ran it came from South Yorkshire. And because we didn't know any better, he'd made a working men's club in the middle of Surrey. I say in the middle of Surrey; it's on the edge of Surrey, in particular. It's literally on the
Yeah.
Surrey Hampshire border. But the two pubs we used to go in were just full of old musicians, and they would have jams, and they would have bands come into play.
Nice.
And there was another pub about 5 miles up the road that we'd go to, that was run by an old singer, and he'd have bands in as well. And so I think looking back on it, I was kind of lucky because we didn't so much get into drink and drugs as into guitars and drum kits. But yeah, it was fun. I mean,
Cool.
not a lot of them, but some of those people have passed away now, which is very sad. But yeah, rather than drinking special brew on a Sunday afternoon, we'd go in and just listen to people playing Green Onions.
Excellent. Come on, play us a tune. What are you going to play us first?
Okay, so this is
I like that when you did the sound check with actually. I have to say.
Yeah. I'll talk all about that later.
Cool.
So I've been playing these blues tunes for a good few years now, and I think it's getting towards the end of me playing this particular type of blues. So this is the song. So I'm going to play the songs I always play.
Cool.
This is maybe one of the last times I'm going to play them in this way. But yeah, so this one's called I Can't Wait to Get Back Home. I wrote it about 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. and it's always been a song that's helped me along. So I'll play this.
Cool.
Oh, hang on. Have you got the guitar? Cool. How long has it been since you've been home? Baby, how long has it been since you've been home? Came down in the dark of night, I've been loving you wrong, and that can't be right. How long has it been since you've been home? Baby, how long has it been? How much trouble have you seen since you've been home? Ooh, ooh, how? How long since you been around my door? Baby, how long since you been around my door? Used to come round talking sweet now. All you do is you eat and sleep. How long since you been around my door? Baby, how long has it been? How much trouble have you seen since you've been home? How? Ooh, ooh, how? How long has it been? How much trouble have you seen since you've been home? How long has it been since you did right? Baby, how long has it been since you did right? Spend your money all alone and you can't do nothing when you get home. How long has it been since you did right? Baby, how long has it been? How much trouble have you seen since you did right? Ooh, ooh, how? How long has it been since you've been home? Baby, how long has it been since you've been home? Came down in the dark of night, I've been loving you wrong and that can't be right. How long has it been since you've been home? Baby, how long has it been? How much trouble have you seen since you've been home?
Next. So you say you reckon it's the last time you're going to be singing that style of song? What do you mean by that style of song?
Well, I think I've been playing blues like this in this way, and for a number of years now, well over a decade now, and it's a life's work, and it's fabulous. I mean, for instance, I would normally be doing this sort of thing in the shirt and tie with my hat on and everything, but no. I think one of the things lockdowns helped me understand is that I can be a bit more. Is that I don't necessarily have to do the work in that kind of way. I mean, these are beautiful songs. I'm very privileged to play them. But I think I need to. I do need to grow beyond them a little bit. So that's all it is. But yeah, that said, I'm not about to start working with Matt Walkley. He's a demon. So yeah, so I just need to get some more songs written, to be honest.
So where are you heading now, do you think?
In what way? How do you mean?
Well, you say that you're going to see that sort of music. That's those sort of songs. Where do you think?
Everything is blues. Everything is blues.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
There's no two ways about it. But I think, in the same way as Muddy Waters was being very forward-looking and pushing the envelope when he played his blues on a Telecaster, and Robert Johnson was being very forward-looking and when he sat down and played into a condenser microphone in the Gunter Hotel. I think it's important to make use of the technology to make the music to make the music that means something to you. Even playing that tune, which I love, I still love it. I'm not saying I don't like playing it anymore. I still love playing that tune. The guitar I'm playing, this guitar, it's a very advanced piece of technology, and I think, one of the things that seems to happen a lot at the shows in the UK and in Europe when I do those, is that people are they like that there's an energy to it and an energy to the blues and a life to the blues that I play, and so I think more of that is necessary rather than.
It's interesting you say that, because I know I've had this sort of discussion with a lot of people, particularly out in Italy, actually, with some Brits out there I knew, who would say, well, I'm playing a national or a dobro because that's the way the blues should be. And I was saying, well, hang on a minute, that's fine, but in 1925 or whenever it was, those were cutting edge tools,
Yep. Absolutely.
It's equivalent to a digital guitar, in the 80s. It wasn't, it wasn't old fashioned then. It was the latest thing. And so I'd agree with you that there is space for it to sort of move in a different direction.
Oh, definitely.
What do you feel about? I mean, where we first met last year was in Italy, where the blues movement is massive.
Yeah.
And what's your experience elsewhere in Europe?
It's very positive. I think people it's one of those things. If we are philosophical about it, all matter is vibrations, and music is vibrations. Dancing is an abstract, and that's really important. People, number one, I'm really lucky to get to go and play this music to audiences of people who want to hear it. That's that's thing one. And so. And my approach to it continues to be that, okay, while I'm able to do that, then let me make sure that what I'm doing is bringing something that enthuses me as well as in order that it enthuses the audience. I mean, that's all it is. I mean, I think audiences know very well if you're just going through the motions, or if you're not 100% into it. I know, and it's a performance, so it's just making sure that. If people are kind enough to come out and hear the music, that you're going to be 100% fully present in delivering it. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. You just reminded me of how sort of talking about doing it in other countries. Leslie and I were in Bratislava a few years ago, and that is the dourest blues I've ever heard in my life. It was so bleak but fantastic. We were in this because over there, when we were there, you could still smoke in the pubs and clubs and stuff.
Wow.
And it was cold, so everybody's got big coats on. There were no lights, and there were like three guys there playing Telecasters, and God, it was fantastic. I loved it. But the blues in Europe seems to be, in some senses, more alive than it is in the UK in terms of enthusiasm. Certainly in Italy.
Yeah, I'll agree. I mean, and again, I'm blessed on the occasions that I've been to Italy. Anyway, I've played with Jacopo Coretti, who's just drummer one. He's great. I mean, I know some great musicians, and Giacomo's definitely he's just a great drummer. And Renato Marciano, who's just okay. Put it this way: music is supposed to be easy and make you feel. It's not supposed to be easy, but it when it works, it absolutely works. With those two, it works. But that's not. But there's no difference in the UK. I mean, again, you know, the people who I'm lucky enough to play with don't have to say yes. I mean, I get to play with, and the thing I keep saying to my band in the UK is, if I had to pay them what they're worth, there's no way I could afford them. You know, so people like Bo, so Greater Manchester, everyone knows Bo Lee because he's an astonishing bass player. I don't know. I could sit here just saying names. You know, I can do that. So Alex Tidewell, Stevie Oakes, Matt Walkley, Harry Rannis, Bob Wynn. You know, Norman Beaker. They're all. Yeah, there's those of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I wouldn't deny the fact there's plenty. I was thinking more in terms of how people see the blues. It's
okay, fine. Well, I think
slightly different.
Yeah. Well, every 10 or 15 years, someone stands up and pronounces the blues dead. At which point it jumps out of its grave and starts dancing again.
Absolutely.
I think so. One of the phrases that gets used around popular music a lot at the moment, and it always has been, is relatability. And I think because the blues talks about themes which are, if not universal, then certainly that people as individuals understand, then as long as people feel that need, and let's be clear about this, blues does not necessarily mean music that is sad. It means music made by black Americans at a certain point in history. It was
music to dance to a lot of the time, wasn't it? You know,
well, yeah, I mean, that thing I was just doing that. I mean, that whole thing. You know, there's got to be a pulse to it. But yeah, it's you know, blues music is a celebration of the human condition, and that's in all of it, in all aspects. The bits where you're happy, the bits where you're about to lie down with someone you love, or if you love them just for that moment, and the bit where you're chasing after someone that's left you. I don't know, but yeah, in fact, when I do,
universal in that sense, yeah, definitely, yeah. So let's celebrate a bit more. What are you going to do?
Well, okay. Let's think about Catfish Blues, which is always quite fun. So this is if I had to write this down, it'd be Trad R. So this is this is Catfish Blues. The words are muddy. The words are a bit Sunhouse and a bit Muddy Waters, but the riff is a bit like a train. So yes, let's do the whole. So let's do the whole explanation. So yeah, this sound, I'm never sure about this one because I don't want to patronise anybody, but just so we know. So this sound. Sorry, there we go. Even with volume, is the sound of a freight train, of a goods train. There's a lot of onomatopoeia of music making the sounds of real life, and then you've got. And trains can move that fast, or they can move that fast. Well, I wish, Lord, I was a catfish. Swimming in love, deep in the sea. I'd have all you lonely women fishing after me. Well, there's two trains running, and this downhill road is going my way. One train running midnight, the other leaves for day. I went down my girlfriend's house, said I got cocaine and reefer for us to share. She said, come on in now, Tommy, because my papa just now left. Woo-hoo. I've been crazy. Lord, I've been a fool. I've been crazy all of my life. Said I fell in love with another man's wife. Said I roll and tumble. Said I let them cry all night long. Said I woke up this morning, all I had was gone. Yes, sir. Said I roll and tumble. Yeah. Said I let them cry all night long. Said I woke up this morning, all I had was gone. That's why I wish, Lord, I was a catfish. Swimming in low, deep sea. I have all you lonely women after me. Stuff.
All right. What was I going to say? Sorry, there was something happened at the end then. Sorry, not from your and my end. Metaphorically speaking, what do you think about people writing blues today?
It's absolutely the right thing to do. It's an entirely valid mode of expression, and everyone should do it.
Well, that's fair enough.
There's don't get me, but look, clearly there are arguments. So there's a man called Corey Harris that you or some of your audience might have heard of. And he is very much. He's a very, very clever man, but he makes the argument. Should white people play the blues? Blues is black music. Should white people play the blues? That's the article. So, if anyone wants to pop along and have a look at the argument that he makes, it's on the internet. It's called "Blues is Black Music. Can white people play the blues? Should white people play the blues? Not can they?" And immediately, another brilliant scholar and musician called Adam Gusso joins the fight and says, "What are you talking?" And just starts on, "What are you talking about?" There's a great argument to watch the argument unfolding. It's just beautiful. Adam could not, is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy from the United States who's very famous for writing and for playing, and he was in the U2 movie. Playing with because he used to play in a duo called Satan and Adam. So he used to play with a guitar player called Mr. Satan, and he was the harmonica player. So Satan and Adam, brilliant. But yeah, I mean, and this is it is the cultural appropriation argument. And when it comes to it, it's about music, and the whole point is that you're supposed to feel it. You have to be very, very mindful of where this music comes from, what it represents in the culture. But let's be absolutely clear about this. I'm from Guildford. I did not
deep south.
Yeah, well, exactly. So I'm from the deep. I'm from the deep south of a brokerage somewhere. And it's helpful that I look like this, because at least then I can carry. I can maybe carry this message forward,
Mm.
which is to say, all right, fine. I play blues music. I play this music because I love it and it resonates with me in the same way. People, the thing which I think is quite underrepresented, but they don't mind it because they're happy, is the blues dance fraternity. Yes, the musicians and the guitarists are out, but the blues dancers, there's loads of them. And as Christopher Small, again, if any of your audience want to look these people up, I warmly recommend looking some of these people up because they're great. Christopher Small is he's passed away now, but he's a great writer on music, and he says that the most sincere compliment a non-musician can pay to a musician who's working is that they would move their bodies and dance, and to play this music that that I love so much for people who want to dance to it. It's just what you want, really. So
Well,
yeah,
the movement thing. I went to see a masterclass with Wynter Marsalis some years ago, and he was saying about the danger because he's like royalty virtually in New Orleans. He was saying that he was opening one of the festivals there one year, and he was playing to the great and the good, who were there because they'd been invited, who weren't necessarily jazz fans. And he said there was one 12-year-old kid sat in the middle of the audience who was like, going for it, big star, because he loved the music. And Wynter Marsalis said, I played the entire gig for him.
That's
which is
the
lovely. Yeah.
I think it's possible. That it's possible to maybe miss the point a little bit, and I have to be reminded a lot of the time as well. It's really not about equipment. It's really not about clothing. It's about, does the music work? Is it are you feeling it? Does someone else feel it? Are they dancing and moving to it? I get in trouble with some blues fans because I have these particular views, but it's music. I mean, it's about, as I've said to a lot of people over a lot of time, it's about creation and curation. If Muddy Waters was welcoming people in to come and play his music, if Buddy Guy was doing the same thing, if BB King was doing the same thing, if Freddie King was doing the same thing, who am I to? It's very convenient. It seems very convenient to me that people who want to say it's that it's definitely a black thing. It's definitely a black American thing, and yes, it is. That's where this is where it comes from from a certain point of view. But if Muddy Waters is saying let everybody come, bring the women, bring the white people, then I'm not going to argue with Muddy Waters.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If Howlin' Wolf is saying it, I'm not going to argue with Howlin' Wolf.
I know I mentioned his name earlier, but I once heard Chris Rea on Radio 4 being asked that question: can white men sing the blues?
Of course they can.
Is it a problem? And in his wonderful Geordie accent, he just said, "That's bollocks." And I think it's the first time I'd ever heard the word bollocks on Radio 4, which is a good thing in itself, I feel.
Actually, just listen for a long time. I mean, but again, of course, the reverse argument is, we don't have to spend all the time on this, but the reverse argument is obviously true. Blues music is something that comes from a very specific racial experience in a very specific time, and there's no sense of temporal relativism or trying to be an apologist for this. It comes out of obscene conditions. But as I say to the dancers, the point of this is that the people who suffered and died don't necessarily have names. They have presence in the culture. That we play this music, that we move, and that we breathe and we sing and we play at all in the way that they did, or in memory of the way it, or in semblance of the way that they did, is the ultimate triumph. Don't get me wrong. It's not to say it's not to apologise for anything, because there's a lot of work to do, a hell of a lot of work to do, but there's no point in doing this music and feeling guilty about it. Do this music and feel proud. Don't be looking at the floor. Hold your head up high and go, right, fine, I'm doing this. Do not forget the people who made this first. That's the only thing. I mean, Peter Green, the great Peter Green, who passed away recently. Part of his project, even back in the late 1960s, was to say, I don't want this money. It doesn't belong to me. Go and find the people that made it. Eric, clearly he's said and done some incredible things. Not all of them brilliant.
Not all of them brilliant. No. But Peter Green certainly, yeah.
Yeah, but again, let's. Here's the thing: people are complicated. If we want people to be, and we can do this with Robert Johnson as well. If we want people to be two-dimensional cartoon characters, then okay, the reality is we're going to be disappointed. People are complicated. That doesn't excuse some of the shit things that sorry, I can't be swearing, but yeah, that doesn't excuse some of the appalling things that people do. But we have to recognize that people are complicated. There's a film called The Rules of the Game is what it's called in English, and one of the best lines in it is the main character saying, "The most terrible thing about life is that everyone has their reasons," and that is the long and the short of it. Yeah, so has Eric Clapton said some damn stupid things? Yes, he absolutely has.
He certainly has. Yeah. Okay, back to the music. What are you going to do now? What about one of yours?
Those last two, the first two were mine.
Well, Catfish isn't.
Well, it's a very original arrangement, but let's not argue about that.
Well, I knew the words, so that'll do.
Okay,
go on in. What are you going to do?
This is okay. Well, I'll play the tune that I was messing about with. This is a song about a young woman from Leeds who I think she's given up now. She was a burlesque dancer at the time. Let's have a look. I know a woman who comes from Leeds, hair all black and brown. She makes a living taking all night, dancing all over town. She's got bright red lips, bright red shoes, a bright red dress and black tattoos. She's got pretty legs to give you the bam bam blues. Well, she shake it in the morning and she shake it at night. Stick it in the graveyard, the dead came to life. Took out a blind man and started to see. Then she started to shake at me. Well, my heart stopped beating, head started to pound. Fell off my seat and just lay on the ground. With my feet, she give you the bam bam. Come on, baby, shake them hips and sit on down. Come on, baby, slide and slip and move yourself around. She's got bright red lips, bright red shoes, a bright red dress and black tattoos. She's got pretty legs, give you the bam bam. Come on, baby, shake them hips and sit on down. Come on, baby, slide and slip and move yourself around. She's got bright red lips, bright red shoes, a bright red dress and black tattoos. She's got pretty legs, give you the bam bam blues. If you set it up, she'll knock it down. Ask her to stay, she'll stick around. Ask her to go, she'll be long gone. I don't know what she's on. Well, she'll break your heart and she'll drink your booze with them bright red lips and black tattoos. She's got pretty legs, she'll give you the bam bam blues. Whatever.
Nice. Like it. You talked about the dance before.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that. Blues dance.
Well, okay. So the blues dance community grows out of the swing and jive community, which has been thriving for a while. And again, it's a great community movement because well, in some places you have choirs, but you have these dancers. There's a really good scene in Leeds. In fact, there's a good scene. In fact, there's a good scene around the country. And what I think what really characterises these people is that they're 100% dedicated to music. I mean, I'm thinking of people like the Blues at the Ritzy Crowd. You've got Tina Shield up in Leeds. And then you have a number of groups over in Manchester as well. And what's great is that they see the blues as a living practice, which is really
Mm.
what it is. Um, the other thing to bear in mind, of course, is that there's a tendency to look at blues music in slices, as this fixed moment in time, but it comes from somewhere and it goes to somewhere else. Um, so yes, that there's a particular cultural moment where it is Muddy Waters and it is Howlin' Wolf and it is Son House or Robert Johnson and Charlie Patton and going back further than that. But it is a developmental living practice, and one of the great things about dances is that it's the movement of living bodies in time to unfolding music. And so I'm not sure how better you could celebrate music, celebrate blues music, than have people actually move to it. But to be honest, I'm answering a lot of questions. I mean, how did you come by the blues, and what do you make of it? How do you engage with it?
How do I engage with it? Well, I'm older than you, and I was fortunate. I mean, I was around in the sort of '60s blues boom, and my first experience of it was going to. There was a blues club in Swansea, and we actually had Gary Davis there, Reverend Gary Davis. We had Mississippi Fred McDowell there, and all sorts of people, plus people from the British blues scene like Dave Kelly, Joanne Kelly, and all
He's
those.
great.
Dave Kelly,
Mm.
yeah, Joanne Kelly as well. She was amazing, and so I came across that. In fact, there's an amazing album that was recorded in about 1967 called An Anthology of British Blues, which was with Dave Kelly and all that crew. But it was produced by a very young Mike Batt, of all people, which is kind of strange.
Astonishing composer. I mean,
Yeah.
actually, you asked that question earlier on. How did you get into music? Children's music in the 1970s and early 1980s was astonishing.
Mm.
In fact, so you've got any children between, from babes in arms up until preschoolers being taught by Tony Arthur, listening to the music of Mike Batt, which is what puts me in mind of it, because you've got songs like Simon and the Land of Chalk Drawings and Theme to the Wombles,
Of course.
which and he didn't write Paddington, but and themes to things like Paddington, which as you get older, you realise, well, hang on a minute, those are the changes from Take the A Train, and you've got totally normalised for a generation of children is the idea of, here is a guitar, let's sit down together, play a guitar, and sing some harmony. The thing about musicians is we're patient, man. We're patient. Sorry, I've interrupted. You were talking about your days with Swansea.
I always think about the thing about the Wombles is the fact that Chris Spedding was one of the Wombles for a long time.
Oh, again, and a monster guitar. Again,
Absolutely.
I'm sure your audience know this, but just in case they don't, Chris Spedding, a monster guitar player. It's easier to name the people he hasn't played with than to make a list of the people he has. This is a man who got together a jam band with Phil Lynott of Thin Lizzy just for the sake of it. And maybe if you are,
is he still alive?
Yes, he still lives. He still lives. He was touring. In fact, he was touring in the thing that most people know him for, which is the War of the Worlds. So, if you've heard, if your audience have heard Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds, then the guitar in that is Chris Spedding, and the guitar in that is just glorious. I mean, you think of the sound of the heat ray, and the wonderful fingerstyle that drives. Forever Autumn. That's Chris Spedding, and you're giving this to preschool children and saying, "Here, this is not a magic trick. Of course, we grow up to be musicians."
Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, okay, go back to the story of saying that those sort of people, and then when I came to Manchester, there was that era of the sort of big blues tours. I mean, the first big tour I saw was before I came to Manchester was BB King, and the support acts were Fleetwood Mac. Duster Bennett, and who else was there? Was somebody else?
You should meet my friend. You should meet my friend Martin. He's written books on Duster Bennett.
yeah,
definitely. Martin Sheldon. I know him.
All that crew was. I mean, it was a lot of it to do with Blue Horizon Records, of course.
Yeah.
Vernon and Chicken Shack and all those sort of people. So great with that. And then came to Manchester, and then there was that era when the big blues tours came over. When Albert King and BB King, Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee were almost resident in Manchester at that time. Sunhouse, Bucker White, all sorts of people.
Did Sunhouse come to the UK?
I think so, yes. Yeah, I'm virtually sure he did. 69 or something like
I don't know.
I'm
I'd have
pretty
to
sure.
check.
Clifton Chenier, and there'd be like 5 or 6 different names on the bill, all at the Free Trade Hall, and it was extraordinary.
The Free Trade Hall.
Yeah.
I think it's. I forget what it is now. It's a. Is a Hilton?
Hotel. It's a hotel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some of the iconic gigs of, the legendary Judas cry to Bob Dylan when he first picked up an electric guitar on stage was in that venue.
Well, Roland, I'm interested to hear your opinion on this. So, but this came up today because there seems to be, and it's come up over the last 2 or 3 days that apparently the Cavern in Liverpool is in danger of closing,
right?
Because it's suffering from COVID. And the question that was being discussed in our little space was, is it sad? Is it really sad? Because as we were just saying, the Free Trade Hall is now a hotel.
Yeah.
Should we? To what extent should we seek to preserve these spaces?
Oh, good question. I've had a similar discussion with a friend of mine who's got a bar in Stockport, because there's a club behind. There used to be a club next door to this bar in the 60s where Hendrix played, and he's saying we really need to restore this. But I mean, it's completely derelict. There's nothing about it. The problem is always about the sort of the recreation of something, isn't it? Once it becomes recreated, it becomes a bit alien. If something's been preserved all along, then it seems more valid to me that if you say, right, well, this is the cab, we're going to recreate it as it was. I don't know.
But this is the point. But there's the point. I mean, the Cavern as a space or a place that Jimi Hendrix. Okay, so fine. Look, if Jimi Hendrix is playing in a place, then the thing about that place is that Jimi Hendrix is playing at it
exactly
at that moment. He wasn't playing at it yesterday. He's not playing at it tomorrow. He's playing at it in that moment. Now, don't get me wrong. I totally, I do get, but I'm really interested to understand the way that we as people. In fact, I tell you what. This not the saddest thing. The strangest thing is to go to an exhibition of musical instruments, of famous musical instruments. So I went to see the Stradivarius exhibition in Oxford some years ago, and to me it was beautiful. These instruments are great. If you've got if you have a fetish for instruments, which I do, then it was an amazing thing. But it was also endlessly sad because the instrument is maybe a third of the story. The instrument is one thing, the musician is another thing, but what we're celebrating here surely is the relationship between the instrument and the musician and the thing that they do in time. And I think maybe one of the things that we should be, I'm only really glad that there's no immediate feedback, because people will be going, what the hell is this geezer talking about? But one of the point is that music is music. It's not like writing, which is to say we're not necessarily making marks on a paper and producing an artifact. Yes, I know there is music notation, but that's a different thing. It's not sculpture. We're not making things out of matter and leaving them, out of materials and leaving them there. It's music. It's dynamic, and it's not if not ephemeral. It's a process. It's a verb. And one of the things that we have to be mindful of, I think, and I welcome any comment about this, because it's a great thing that I find quite interesting. What we have to be mindful of is of when we live. It can be endless. We can be very hubristic about, well, this is the way things have always been. It's not the way things have always been done. It really isn't. Music is not a noun; it's a verb.
I'll go with that.
And one of the not one of the fallouts, but maybe one of the effects of living in a post-industrial and an information society is that we tend to think about things as nouns. This is music. It is music. It's a thing. Music is a verb. It's a doing thing. And I think, despite a few hundred years of history trying to make it into artifacts, here's a phonograph record, that is the music. No, it's not. Here's a piece of sheet music, that is the music. No, it's not. There is a musician on the stage, and she is singing and she is playing, and the band is working. That is the music.
What did you find sad about the Stradivarius?
Because okay, don't get me wrong, these are beautiful, gorgeous, amazing instruments. But like I said, as I said, it's a third of the story. Here is the instrument, and it's not in the hands of a musician.
Yeah.
And if it were, and it needs to be played. I mean, it's that. So don't get me wrong. I mean,
I went. I was some years ago. I was in Cremona, and I went to the Stradivarius Museum there, and they had these magnificent instruments in cases, and the sort of whoever he was, the professor in charge of this part of the academy.
That's a hell of a job. Nice.
Yeah. Well, he took one of these out, and he said, "Well, I'm here to perform it." And
Excellent.
he took it out and he played it, and it was magnificent.
That's what you want.
Not that I could tell the difference between a Strad and something else, but he took it out and played it. But the worst thing was that he got mobbed by about 75 Asiatic tourists who wanted to take pictures of him, and he was panic stricken because he wanted to put it back in the glass case because he was afraid he was going to get knocked over. And it was quite a weird sight, really. But yeah, there is something about. But
I think in support of what you're saying, I think of and you've mentioned him a few times already today. I think of Jimi Hendrix, and he. I think he just kind of knew the music. He was the music. That's it. He was the music. And so he would have some requirements for guitar, but he wasn't really attached to them.
No.
And well, I think maybe to illustrate the point that you were making so well, and the point that I'm trying to illustrate as well, is that he had maybe at the end of his life actually he started getting attached to them, but he got attached to one in particular, that black one at the end. But apart from that, it was kind of like, well, okay, it's a guitar. I'll play it. And there's some wonderful shots of him playing. I forget where. Maybe it's Newport, but it's a Strat, and someone's just put a Telecaster neck on it because that's what they had.
That was what was available.
Yeah, it's like there you go. Right now, it's a guitar. So yeah, I mean, it's easy to get hung up on artifacts and on objects, but as I say, surely the point of this is that music is a doing thing. I used to be very cruel and foolish with my wife. My wife's a professional dancer, and I used to play with her and say, "What's dance for? What's the point? What's dance for?" It's just like moving your arms around and complaining about the cold. And of course, the truth is, as I mentioned earlier on, it is the glory of it's one of the glories of the arts, because living humans are moving in time through the world. It's the abstraction of life is what it is. So yes, how delightful.
Excellent. Well, we're going to do.
I think you should play a song. I think
I should play a song.
I think.
All right. Come on in. This is called That's How It Is. Switch over so you can. I've been thinking about where I've been, the places I've visited, and the things I've seen. Made decisions by people I've met. Some were good ones, and some I regret. Don't know the future, can't change the past. That's how it is. That's how it is. I've been thinking about me and you. Where are we going? What are we gonna do? Nothing keeps us together. Not one thing we've done. No reason unites us. We live two lives, not one. Don't know the future, can't change the past. That's how it is. That's how it is. I've been thinking about what might come to pass. Will I ever find someone, a love that will last? I keep a hoping, I keep a looking around, but the other half of me is no around. Don't know the future, can't change the past. That's how it is. That's how it is. I have been thinking about what might have been. It could have been a different story, cut to a different scene. A little bit less adventure, would it be less fun? But I could be settled down instead of still rambling on. Don't know the future, can't change the past. That's how it is. That's how it is. Don't know the future, can't change the past. Don't know the future, can't change the past. That's how it is. That's how it is. That's how it is. Where are you? There you are.
Terrific.
Thank
Well,
you.
that was fun.
So, we could be talking here all night. I mean, we only had a 5-minute sound check yesterday that lasted an hour and a quarter. So we could.
I am on the clock tonight, though.
Oh, you are on the clock.
I am on the clock tonight.
Okay. Well, are you going to do one more tune to finish off?
I don't know.
Go on, be a devil.
What's on the wall? Yeah, actually, can I remember how to play that? Yeah. That's why I miss. This is one of the reasons I miss Matt.
Because he chats while you read to.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. Actually, forget those. Ha! That's brave. That's very brave.
It is.
Yeah. See, normally, not normally, but in the past I would be doing this with my pedal board, and there's like a tuner on there, and I keep forgetting to use the tuner.
I thought that was one of the things that I was surprised they left off that particular guitar that you're playing. I thought they might have put a tuner in it as well, seeing as there's so much electronics in it anyway.
Yeah, that could work. That could have worked.
Just for the viewers' benefit, the guitar that Tom is playing there is an Acoustasonic Fender, which we've both agreed was something we'd both dreamed of, and in fact, Tom was the first person I knew who had one. I phoned him up and said, "What's it like?" And he said, "Fantastic."
Yeah, definitely.
So, and then I couldn't get one anywhere in the UK because he's got better connections than I have. And finally, I acquired one, and they are fantastic. But as I was saying to Tom, for the first couple of gigs I used it on, there were people peering at it as if to say, "What the hell is that?" Because they couldn't quite work out. Because it's an electric guitar and an acoustic guitar all in one, and it's marvelous. So,
yeah, it's what most guitarists want, in as much as you only really want to take one guitar to the gig, and if you
exactly.
I was thinking about this a couple of months ago. If I absolutely had to, I take two guitars with me when I go out on tour. This one and the black Strat, because everyone needs a black Strat, right? Well, at least I do. But if I absolutely had to, I could do the whole thing just on this. But then
you'd have to leave the Strat at home then. So
yeah. So
where's the pleasure in that?
Well, as my wife says, it's like, okay, you bought that guitar. What problem has it solved, and has it paid for itself yet? So, yeah. And in both cases, the answer is yes, it has. Yes, they have. But which reminds me, the risk of being what's the word? The risk of panhandling. If anyone would like to make a donation, please. There's a link on the bottom of the screen. I'll be very grateful because. As a musician and teacher, we're not allowed into schools, and we can't do any gigs. So if anyone wants to sling me a tenner, please do. Right. Okay. So this is absolutely not one of my tunes. It's a Robert Johnson tune called. Well, it's I don't know. We'll see. Well, I feel so lonesome. Hear me when I'm on. Well, I feel so lonesome. Hear me when I'm on. Well, who's been driving your airplane for you since I've been gone? Well, you flash your lights, mama, but you're home won't even look. Well, you flash your lights, mama, but your horn won't even blow. Well, there's a short disconnection here, way down below. Well, the cops ain't getting busted, ain't no generator spark, and in a poor condition, I've got to get my batteries charged. Please don't do me wrong. Well, who's been driving your airplane? Well, for you since I've been gone. Well, Mr. Highwayman, please don't block the road. Well, Mr. Highwayman, please don't block the road. You know, I'm playing back in my house. I'm booked, I've got to go. There.
Great. Thanks, Tom.
No worries.
Been a pleasure, mate. Thanks for coming into the coming into the studio. I use it metaphorically, but yeah, thanks for joining us. And I'll see you again soon. Maybe in real life. Maybe back in Trasimeno Blues next year. That would be good.
Well, we can only hope. But all right, listen, take it easy. I'm not sure how to quit out of this. Oh, there it is. I can see it now. I see it now. All right, look, take it easy. Lovely to meet you all, and speak again.
Okay, take care. Cheers,
Bye.
Tom. Thanks, mate. That was good fun. So that's it from me, and Talking Songs, and from Dr. Tom Attah. And I'll be back next week. Let me just see what I've got lined up over the next couple of weeks. Next week, Liam McClare. Now, I've not seen Liam for some time, so that'll be good. Then the week after, we've got Chloe Jones, no relation. I've been trying to get Chloe to do one of these things for ages and ages, but it just didn't work because we were going to do it in a venue, and then I booked her to do that, and she couldn't do it enough. But finally, we'll get her here. Not through her fault, I have to admit. It was only because the venues kept closing down, and that wasn't anything to do with my fault either. So we've got Chloe, Andy Adams after that, Harry Stafford, Emily Fremgen coming in from New York, Chris Taverner, which will be good fun. Again, Chris was an early adopter, if that's the right. I adopted him early, I don't know. George Borowski, and on the 13th of October, Rachel Kober, who'll be here from Miami. So I'll be posting more information about this in the forthcoming days. And thanks for joining in. Thanks for watching. And if you want to get in touch, drop me a line. And until then, see you next week, and take care and stay safe. Bye for now.